Howdy y'all, we're the Codys, but y'all can call us the Uncharted Texans. Hello y'all, we are in downtown San Antonio, Texas at the San Fernando Cathedral. San Fernando Cathedral was founded in 1731 and is called the Cathedral of Our Lady of Candelaria in Guadalupe. It is a cathedral of the Roman Catholic Church located in downtown San Antonio. It faces the city's main plaza and is the main church of the Archdiocese of San Antonio as well as the seat of its Archbishop. This saga projection covers 7,000 square feet of light onto the oldest cathedral in the United States. You can watch this in person in its entirety on Tuesdays, Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays each week at 9, 9:30, and 10 p.m. Good evening from the Hotel Valencia on the San Antonio Riverwalk. The Hotel Valencia is an older style, luxurious hotel that blends Spanish colonial with modern Mediterranean. It is on a quiet part of the Riverwalk near the Pearl District. Hotel Valencia hosts many of the NBA teams and lots of celebrities. The hotel is service-oriented and out of the thick of things, but still on the Riverwalk. It's what guests who don't want to be bombarded by people are looking for. The San Antonio Riverwalk is one of the most visited places in Texas. The Riverwalk has luxury hotels, a variety of restaurants and shops. There are also riverboat tours you can float downtown in or even eat your supper while taking in the sights. The Riverwalk, or Paseo del Rio in Spanish, is a 15-mile long network of walkways that run along both sides of the river. 5 miles of the Riverwalk runs through downtown. The beginning of the Riverwalk can be traced back to 1921 when the river flooded and killed 50 people. This led to discussions about controlling the river levels. The end result was the Riverwalk we see today, set one level below the main city streets. Along the Riverwalk, you will find restaurants like Casa Rio, which opened in 1946 and is still in operation today. An old legend describes this twin cypress as a lookout of a Mexican sniper who picked off the Texans as they came to the river for water. You can even take horse-drawn carriages downtown. Just off the northeast quarter of the Riverwalk on Alamo Plaza, due north of the River Center Mall and just west of the Crockett Hotel, sits the historic Alamo. In the 1700s, the Alamo was constructed as a home to Spanish missionaries. They called it Mission San Antonio de Valero. Then, in 1739, a smallpox epidemic took a heavy toll on the missionaries and their followers. By the 1780s, the Alamo was starting to resemble a fortress more than a church. In 1802, Spanish soldiers were quartered at the Alamo. They made several renovations to the mission, including adding barracks and a hospital. The Alamo Company, as these soldiers were known, stayed until 1821 when Mexico won its independence from Spain. At this time, Mexico granted Anglo-Americans permission to settle in Tejas, or Texas as we know it now. In 1833, General Santa Anna was elected President of Mexico, and he swore he would never surrender control of Texas. It wasn't long before the self-governing Texans became a thorn in Santa Anna's side. In 1835, the Texas Army defeated Santa Anna's army at Mission Conception. By the end of December, the last company of Mexican soldiers had surrendered to the Texas Army following a siege of Bear, which is known today as San Antonio. The Texas Army now occupied the Alamo, and they quickly transformed this mission into a fort, complete with 19 cannons that were left behind by the Mexican Army. By the end of January 1836, only 100 men remained at the Alamo. Sam Houston sent Colonel Jim Bowie and a small attachment of men to abandon the Alamo. However, Bowie decided to defend the Alamo instead and sent back a report that stated he had confidence that his men could withstand an attack from the Mexican Army. On February 11th, acting commanding officer Colonel James Neal transferred command to Colonel William Travis. Travis had arrived 1 week earlier with 30 reinforcements. In the same week, Davy Crockett and his volunteer sharpshooters from Tennessee arrived, bringing the total number of Alamo defenders to 150 men. February 23rd, General Santa Anna and approximately 4,000 Mexican troops took up positions around the Alamo. A red flag was raised, which meant no quarter for the men inside. Travis responded by firing his largest cannon, an 18-pounder that the Grays from New Orleans brought. Santa Anna responded with an onslaught of artillery fire. On the 1st of March, 32 men from Gonzales arrived at the Alamo. It is estimated that by March 3rd, around 200 cannonballs had been fired at the Alamo. By some miracle, not a single Texan or volunteer was killed during the bombardment. Davy Crockett and the Tennessee sharpshooters would shoot any Mexican soldier that came within 200 yards. Around 5 a.m. on March 6th, Mexican soldiers began placing scaling ladders against the walls, only to be shot down by the defenders before reaching the top. After being repelled several times, Santa Anna launched a massive assault on the north wall. Quickly, Mexican soldiers began piling into the Alamo. The gunners stationed along the south wall turned their cannons to help with the northern breach, and this left the south wall undefended. Within a matter of minutes, the Mexican soldiers had killed the artillerymen and taken possession of the cannons. Since no quarter was ordered, the Mexican soldiers killed nearly all defenders remaining in the Alamo. Bowie, who had taken ill and was confined to his bed, was bayoneted by the Mexican soldiers. Travis was killed near the west wall, and Davy Crockett fell in the corner near the church. The battle lasted only 90 minutes. Historical records differ on how many men died defending the Alamo. Numbers vary between 150 and 200. It is estimated that 521 Mexican soldiers were killed. Santa Anna ordered the bodies of the Texans to be burned unholy. Only Gregorio Esparza received a proper burial. Travis's African-American slave Joe, 2 Mexican women, and Lieutenant Dickinson's wife, Susanna, and child were among the 14 who survived. An original poem by J. Cody. Texas, a dream, a freedom serene, lives given, a feat, Texas a Crete. Goliad was taken, the Alamo shaken, with massacres threatening, San Jacinto a reckoning. As Santa Anna set saddlebow, cried the Texan, remember the Alamo. The Daughters of the Republic of Texas believed the Alamo should be preserved. In 1883, they started a campaign to raise funds for the Alamo. After 20 years, the Texas legislature appointed the Daughters the permanent caretakers of the Alamo in San Antonio, Texas. And today, more than 2.5 million people visit the Alamo each year. Next door to the Alamo, in 1855, a German immigrant, William Menger, opened the Menger Hotel. It became so popular that he soon had to add 40 rooms. When William Menger died in 1871, his wife and son ran the hotel until they sold it to J.H. Campman in 1881. The Menger Bar was added in 1887 and was built as an exact replica of the London's House of Lords pub. This bar is where Teddy Roosevelt would recruit men for his Rough Riders unit. The bar still has several bullet holes from his Rough Rider days. Today, The Menger is one of the most famous and haunted hotels in San Antonio, with 32 reported ghosts. A couple blocks away from the Menger Hotel is the oldest saloon in Texas. It has a Texas Ranger Museum downstairs and an extensive exotic animal collection and gift shop. Teddy Roosevelt also recruited for the Rough Riders in this saloon, and it is rumored that Pancho Villa planned the Mexican Revolution from here. Upstairs, the exotic animal collection has animals from every continent. Also in the downtown area, off the beaten path, is the Market Square, which is a 3-block outdoor plaza lined with shops and restaurants. This is the largest Mexican market in the United States. El Mercado has 32 shops and the Farmers Market has 80 shops. In these shops, vendors sell clothing, folk art, piñatas, jewelry, pottery, and more. San Antonio sure lights up at night. We hope y'all enjoyed our day trip with us in San Antonio, Texas. Y'all come back now, you hear, and don't forget to subscribe, like, and share our posts. See you out there next time.